Hi everybody, I am back for another Sunday shout out, and this week there's someone actually sitting next to me. So he's a sound engineer, he's a producer, a writer, a drummer, and he is the owner of Sheep Hill Studios, the amazing Austrian
Awesome.
Fabian Wollner.
Hello.
You are Austrian.
I am. It sounds like way too much, so I'm trying to cope with all of that stuff now.
The awesome Austrian.
Yeah.
You're trying to cope.
Yeah, we producer, writer, studio.
And you play drums, you write
Sounds
music.
sounds fancier than it is, but thank you.
But that is the actual truth, and you do indeed like to stay behind the scenes.
Yes.
But I have been asking you for a little while now to actually appear on my Sunday shout out.
We'll see if that's gonna be a good idea or not, I guess.
Yeah, definitely,
All
of
right.
course. Fabian has produced my album, and we have written 8 songs from the album together as well.
Yes. Thinking back about it. I don't know, it's just like the writing stuff gone quicker than everything we have to do now.
Yeah, definitely.
So
It's all the bits behind the
making
scenes.
the music is definitely more fun than everything that follows. But sure, yeah, it was about a year, I guess. Yeah.
And you were there at the first writing session for Diamond 101.
Mm-hmm.
And when Johnny and I were having a chat, we worked it out that it was August 19.
19.
I think that was just such a great starting point.
Yeah, the pressure was on after that.
Yeah, it was kind of like, right, we've got the first song, like, let's do this.
Yeah,
Like, let's write together.
I got a couple of sleepless nights throughout the whole thing, but yeah, I guess motivation is always good.
Do you remember what we wrote after Diamond?
I think, yeah, I do remember. It's a song I'm not allowed to say yet because it's top secret.
It's top secret. It hasn't been revealed, but it is going to be a single.
And can I say which song it is on the set list?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's actually funny. The first song we wrote is going to be the last song on the single.
Yes.
On the album.
Our amazing friend Pete Simpson is singing backing vocals on that one as well.
There's a lot of people on the track.
There is a lot.
There's a lot of people on the track.
Can you remember how many?
Yeah, there's Seppi is playing drums, Chris is playing guitar, David is playing
On the keys.
keys. You gotta do all the last names and stuff then in the tags and like get the proper credits. There is Jojo on the bass and a little bit of programming by me. I
Yeah,
guess.
it's a program in there.
Yeah. I think that's it.
Wow.
It's enough, anyways.
Yeah, definitely. And there's the introduction to the album as well, which basically features everybody on it.
Yeah, there was. Let's just put everything on it.
But it happened very naturally though. That was like having the people involved on the album. So there's 19 musicians altogether. So they're a mixture from Austria and the UK.
I guess the putting more stuff in is never the problem. Is then afterwards say, okay, maybe it's a little much and taking some stuff out again is the harder stuff. But sure, like put in as much as possible and let's see what happens.
I love the backing vocals. I love just putting so many layers on it.
Yeah.
And Fabian's like, maybe we should think about taking some layers out.
But I think in the end, like, you did do a lot of layers, but in the end, I think we're quite pretty much in the middle of nowadays standards of backing vocals. Like, if there is from, I don't know who doesn't use any backing vocals now, thinking about it, but whoever that person might be, to Billie Eilish using backing vocals, I think you're kind of in the middle.
I'm in the middle, okay.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah?
Like, it's
Because I
about
do like
5 to 10 layers, which is, I think, is
5 to
okay.
10.
Like the Billie Eilish 20 or something like
Yeah,
that.
it seems quite a lot.
Yeah, well, I think you just in nice middle territory.
Nice middle ground, okay.
Yeah.
That's good. And I really enjoy finding special vocal hook lines that fill around the main line. The hook lines they came very early on. They were kind of like the first things that because I guess it's the most memorable thing as well and repetitive. Something that's simple and memorable.
Well, I'm not too sure, but simple. It depends on the song. Like more complicated than others, or simpler than others. But in the end, I think like this is still like vocal focused music. What you're doing, so it makes complete sense to build around the vocals. From my standpoint, this really plays into my hands as well, because I don't know if that comes as a shock to you, but not an amazing singer. So I'm better at doing the instrumental kind of stuff,
Yes,
and
definitely.
this really, like, I think that's why it maybe worked it well,
I think
because
that's why we worked so well together. Program
yeah,
wise, like
all the
ideas
instrumental stuff
wise,
I'm fine
like
with.
musically,
Oh.
like where the instrumentation should go, because we did demo versions of the tracks. So you programmed like a guitar line or a certain like drum lines, bass. So you put them down, program them
Yeah,
down
yeah.
before we asked whoever musician that we asked to be involved on that track. So whether it be Patrick or Jojo, Harry, Seppi, Chris, Steve, um, it was demoed first.
Yeah, it's actually, like, now that you say the word demo, it's kind of fun because it never really felt as a demo to me. Because, like, the tracks, like, progressed through times. That's why I always enjoy, like, having time to work on tracks, because Sean is a super quick, and I'm a little jealous of that, because he's like a super quick guy. Like, he has a vision and then goes for it, and then pretty much after 4 to 6 hours, anyways, the way you talked about
Yeah.
it, you have a track pretty much. So, okay, so
Yeah.
I like to keep, like, let stuff sink in, kind of, like, which then leads sometimes to overthinking stuff, whatever. Like, but I think it's cool to, the way I enjoyed, like, to see where it goes, and especially with the great musicians who, like, were super up to, like, putting their stuff on top of it.
Yeah.
So we were, like, had the choice to, like, remove the programming stuff with real instruments. If not, then we kept it. So it never felt like there was a demo and then a recorded track. Like, the original demo, kind of, like, progressed
Yeah,
to the
progressed
final track,
as the
and then,
live
like, yeah.
instruments were added to it.
And some stayed, like, programmed as well. So it's like very much like hybrid, I guess, of all
Yeah,
of it.
it's a hybrid album.
If that is a thing, sure.
Yeah, we've just made it. We've made it up now.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the working process that we had. Like, we still got it done in under a year, but I guess it was that slower paced in the sense of really like sitting on it and listening on it and sleeping on it
Yeah.
and seeing how it progressed over time.
Definitely. And there were some times when I think we both got stuck on a track, and then we did two others, and then come back and oh, now this kind of makes more sense again. So I guess
Yeah,
since
definitely.
it was the first time we worked together on music, there was a little bit of, like, finding, like, I guess because in the end we come from quite different styles of music originally, but we kind of worked on the same music for quite a while through
Yeah.
Albertina Passage and all that stuff. So I really enjoyed it. It was something kind of new
Yeah.
to me, but, like, I know the music. I'm
You
not an
knew the
expert,
vibe
but
that I
yeah,
wanted to
but
go
I
on.
know it well enough, I would say. And again, like, you came up with most of the, like, melody lines anyways, and then it was just me trying to find something to,
Find the
yeah,
instrumental.
just to support it in the best way possible. Sometimes, like, more in a groovy way, sometimes more in a little bit more, I don't know, layered way, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, definitely.
But it was super cool. Like, this is definitely a way I really enjoyed writing music. Like, having the opportunity to build something underneath your vocal tracks that are already there, or you already, like, had in mind anyways.
Yeah, because there were a lot of ideas that I had that I'd held on to for quite some time, but really needed to and wanted to have someone else to work on them with me, because you come in as an outside eye, like the first ear to these ideas. While I was here, like staying here, finishing the album, I was like, oh, Fab, I've got this brand new idea. What do you think?
It's horrible.
The one with Harry and
Yes.
Patrick. We ended up changing my melody line ideas for the middle section. That one actually took ages to do. And so, like you say, some songs were like really easy, and then other songs became quite a challenge. And it was because we were trying to find the melody line that fitted underneath the chords and the instrumental. That was quite
I
tricky.
think it's funny. I think we have very different perceptions of time, because that track I remember because we had a mastering scheduled already,
Yeah.
and oh, we need another track now. And we wrote that track, I think, You came up with the main melody line, and I think we wrote this track in like 2 days.
Yeah, it was
But
okay. It was quick.
we worked like compared to the rest of the track, we worked on the middle part like for half a day or something
Yeah,
like
the
that.
middle
Yeah.
part took ages
And
to
it
do.
took a little time for you to like, it's actually not that bad. I remember like, no, I don't like it. And then like
Yeah.
sleeping over it and actually it sounds kind of cool.
Yeah,
I pushed in
definitely.
a little bit more darker
Yeah, I like that
area with
about
that one.
it. I
Yeah,
like that about it
yeah.
because that is what the track is about, and you will hear it when the album comes out.
That is
Um,
actually the only track without any programming. It's
yeah,
all
it's
real instrument.
completely live.
Yeah, instruments, yeah.
Horn section.
Horn section, guitar, bass, drums, BVs.
Wow.
Actually, that's it.
Yeah, but that was it
Nearly a
was three
rock band.
part. It's three
Nearly a
part
rock
horn
band.
section,
Yeah, that's true.
which sounds really good.
Yeah.
Good on Martin, Simon, and Werner.
Yeah, they were quite spontaneous with it. Like, okay, we have a track, but we have to finish it in 3 days because then we have to send the stuff over. So, yeah, we'll come over, whatever. We'll make it happen.
Yeah, there was a little bit of a deadline, and Patrick. Oh, he added on bass for another track the
That
night
was
before.
I had to mix the bass in half a day and then send it over.
Yeah, but it was awesome. I think it was great because we had a deadline. It was like, right, come on, let's do this. And we managed to secure John Davis from Metropolis Studios, who's Grammy Award winning and used to work for the Acid Jazz Records label with Jamiroquai back in the day, early night like 90s vibes with Giles Peterson. And when I found out that history of him when we first spoke to him, it was like a match made in heaven. Like we when we discussed about doing mastering, because you thought about mastering it at the beginning, but because we were so involved in it and you were so involved, the production side, the mixing side of things, it would have been a little bit too
Yeah,
much
yeah,
to have
yeah.
mastered it.
I still think it was too much anyways to get good with it. Like it again, it progressed like the rest of the album. So, yeah, you get there, and then you kind of don't want to give it away anymore because you're kind of in the middle of it anyways. And then of course everything is a budget thing anyways as well. So it's always kind of everything has to be paid out of your own pockets anyways. So you kind of go with the flow. But then I said, okay, I don't want to master it anymore because my ears are tired.
Yeah, but they were just too used to it, I
Yeah,
guess.
that's what I mean with it. Like it's been such a still like it was quick, but still like a year pretty much non-stop working on it.
Like living with it.
Yeah,
We totally
yeah.
lived with
So
it the
you
whole
lose
time.
your objectivity with it.
Yeah.
So
So when we discussed about having the mastering process, we did research on it and really wanted to find the right person. So I was super nervous when we had the phone conversation with John, and literally within 10 seconds of him answering the phone, it was like, okay, great, we've got this, like, sorted. Yeah, he did an awesome job on lifting up what was already an amazing mix from you.
yeah, I'm always happy when I get the feedback from the mastering engineer, especially if it's someone who knows what he's doing and been doing for a while. So yeah, no, it sounds great. So
Yes, that was so
it's not,
good.
it's complete crap. What are you doing? It's like, oh, sorry. But it was, yeah, he seemed to be quite happy with
Yeah,
it.
it was really good.
So
He even said like early days Jamiroquai Space Cowboy vibes, and I was like, thank you, like I'm happy.
I paid him to say that.
Tick. Really?
I had a phone
Did
call the
you
day
now?
before. Gave him a 10 and said, please, can you say that?
A tenner.
Yeah,
That was quite cheap.
yeah.
Yes, it was a really quick writing, producing, mixing time, but
Yeah.
it was so enjoyable.
Yeah, it was. Sometimes at the times, again, I was a little maybe stressed out by all of it. Because I
Yeah.
did kind of feel the pressure because you're quite good at what you do. And I had the feeling if it's gonna turn out bad, then it might fall back on me. So I said, okay, I have to nail whatever I'm doing, it has to work.
Well, you did an awesome job.
We'll see what the people think, but in the end, like, yeah, I think it turned out great. I do really enjoy it, I think, yeah. I guess this is one of the important parts to like enjoy it yourself, and when you put it in and like have a listen, you at
Yeah.
least don't think, oh no, what did I do? So,
Yeah. No, definitely don't feel that way about it.
but yeah, it's been kind of weird thinking about it. It's been so all over the place because we were still writing tracks and then already finishing other tracks and recording tracks and meet. So it was like there wasn't really a proper workflow where you say, okay, we wrote all the tracks and then produced them and then
Yeah.
record. So it was like one track was already finished and another one wasn't even written yet, and it was like everything kind of happened at the same time.
Yeah.
But I guess it was in another way it was cool because we weren't able to kind of like fall like into a tunnel and we say, oh no, nothing works, because in the end, if something didn't work or we weren't happy, we just moved on and went to the next, and then got back to another one. There were a couple of tracks we had to like let out and
Yeah,
just
some tracks we didn't tried but didn't use
yeah,
in
but
the
that's
end.
super cool because in the end, I always like when you take out one or two tracks because that to me feels like you're choosing the best.
Yeah, because we said maybe
Yeah.
like write 15 tracks and get rid of 3, maybe,
Yeah, something like
3
that.
or 4.
Because if you kind of have to write the last track on the album with your like last brain cells, and then oh, I just managed to do 7 tracks, and then it's like, okay, there's probably a couple of not so good tracks in there. We'll see.
But I think everything has its own
Yeah.
personality. Everything is meant to be there. It's there and existing and special on the album. There's one song that I wrote here during lockdown, which I love.
Which one? Oh, you're not allowed to say which one.
Single number 4.
Oh yeah, okay.
And I love this track. There's just something really awesome about it. And I have already started filming the music video for it. And it's in little pieces, little bits and pieces. And I think that you've done an awesome job on the drums instrumental for it. I love it. We were looking at modern influences, and you and I, we both really like Anderson .Paak.
It's like the standard stuff, I guess. The good music, you know.
The
it's
good
out
music.
there nowadays. The Andersons.
Yeah, the sort of that hip hop, like the hip hop beats, like the drums sort of. It's the 16th, isn't it?
Yeah, it's funny because like most of the people who heard it like already, yeah, it's kind of
Urban.
like has this 90s R&B vibe. a little
Yeah,
bit to it.
yeah, I was gonna say.
I think
a
that's
little bit
quite
urban.
cool. Like it moves a little away from the Fawn the Flock stuff, which is a lot of the stuff on the album.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a couple of tracks
The
who
disco.
go a little bit stray away from that, which I do like. I do like the Fawn the Floor stuff, but I very much like the more a little bit more groovy, a little bit more syncopated stuff as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of syncopation in there, and it even breaks into a little bit drum and bassy at
Yeah,
parts.
just
drums
we
wise.
put
What did you put in?
a hint of it in. Nothing too.
What did you put in?
The aiming brakes. I put a little aiming brakes into the.
I think I like that because it just makes you wanna.
But it's very subtle.
It makes you wanna
Very
move.
subtle. Very subtle. We'll see. Might do a drum and bass remix
Ooh,
in the end.
nice. Because
That
you
could
do
work.
those.
when I have time. Yeah,
Yeah.
and feel creative.
Creative.
Ooh.
What software do you use? Like, what's your kind of setup? What do you have in the studio?
Well, software-wise, I only use Cubase pretty much. What setup do I have in the studio? Is a big
yeah, you've got
question.
quite a lot, haven't you? Like different mics, different
Yeah,
setups,
it's-
different
it's-
rooms in the studio.
Yeah, it's a little bit of mix of digital and analog. I don't have the money to buy a huge analog desk, so I'll work pretty much on a digital workstation with a couple of outboard gear, which did find its way on your album a lot. Nowadays with other projects it's always a little difficult because sure you can run a rapping over a playback through a like 2A or whatever for
Yeah.
the geeks out there. But it's like I don't really see the point. But with your album, since like a lot of real instruments and it's a little bit more, I would say maybe raw and not as sparkle like
Sparkle.
Ariana Grande pop. It's a little bit more down to earth, a little more like
Yeah, we
Yeah,
wanted it
just
to
raw.
be. Yeah, we wanted to
Yeah.
compete with the pop commercial sound, which is very pumping on the production side of things, volume wise, but then we also wanted it to be integrated with musicians, so it's that live feel. There's moments of programmed, but it's pushing on the live musician feel.
Yeah, I think in the end, like a comparison, which I think you've never heard or said yourself, is like the Jamiroquai thing, pretty much. So
Never
there's
mentioned Jamiroquai ever
never
in my
before.
life.
But you have all the live stuff, all the real stuff combined with all the digital
I love it.
wizardry.
That's what I'd like to do live when we get there,
Yeah,
when it
sure.
happens.
We'll see when that's gonna happen, but it might be a little longer.
Mm.
Yeah. Bad times.
But we got the album
Yeah.
coming out. The
Yeah,
album is
yeah.
coming out throughout this year, so I'm super happy about it. I'm very, very excited that Diamond 101 is coming out next week.
Yeah.
So it's going to be Sunday today. It's going to be out in 4 days.
Really?
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Thursday the 21st.
Time's just flying now.
It's absolutely flying by. I'm super excited.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see what's happening.
So when we did Diamond 101, it was written and recorded at Johnny's studio. What did you do with the stems and the project that he sent over
Well, for
to
Diamond,
the studio? Sheep Hill.
so pretty much you recorded 3 songs
Yeah,
at
from
Johnny's.
Mhm.
Vocally, all of them. Diamond, you pretty much. I was there a recording session, but pretty much like I was maybe saying-
managerial role.
Yeah, a little bit. Like,
And you helped
a
lyrically.
little bit, but like I was more like there to see what was going on.
Yeah.
So I pretty much did.
I wanted you
mainly-
there for moral support and
Yeah.
to see it all.
So I kind of only did mixing, mainly like the mixing side of things, which was especially from an edit perspective because quite cool because Johnny works very clean, and like what you get from him is pretty much like the ready to go stems. You don't have to take out any breaths too much or cut front to end, like, so he kind of chose the best takes anyway already. So it was
Yeah, we already
Pretty much.
chose it.
put the stems in and go ahead with it. Mixing wise, yeah, it was just it's pretty much like a big track. There's not too much going on in there, so it's bass, drums, big guitars, and then
And the vocals.
bigger vocals. So I guess I think it's gonna be a great start because it's hitting quite hard, and I think people will get a idea of what's coming up. Some might be a little bit surprised.
Rob did say that last week, actually, that he thought, there's going to be the 606 crowd that's more on the jazz funk side of things. This is definitely going more on the pop funk, like
There might even
commercial.
be some hints of rocky vibes in there.
Actually, yeah, there's a little bit of rock in there too, because we were talking about like what does it actually sound like. There's a mixture of influences in there.
But even if you don't like it at all, there's gonna be some different. So if you don't like the first single, stay at least for the second one as well.
I think people.
Yeah, no.
Fingers crossed. People. Yeah, stay for the second one, please.
But yeah, no, but it was super cool. So I sent like a couple of rough mixes to Johnny, and he gave me some feedback, and then made it as big as it makes sense it to be, I guess.
Yeah.
Like going back to
What it
technical
needed.
sides, because yeah, sure, everything needs to be loud and to compete, but I
Not
think
too
it should
loud.
make sense. Yeah, and I'm saying that with the masters being, like, if you compare to like 15 years ago, 20 years, the people would have been, what the hell? So it is still loud on the loud side of things, but still trying to keep some integrity of the audio without completely destroying everything,
Yeah, definitely.
which is the case on a lot of stuff nowadays.
And that was a discussion that we did have with John as well with the mastering processes. We had some music references. The Jamiroquai Cloud 9 was a reference for him to have a listen to, because that was where we were kind of comparing the sound and, well, most importantly, the volume That's what we were comparing to, wasn't it? Like Soundwave wise. And there was Dua Lipa as well, Don't Start Now, which came out last year and was huge. Like, we were like, how on earth? Well, for me anyway, I was like, how on earth have they created that amount of volume? So they were like our references that we gave to him. And they were loud. And I remember
Yeah,
him
yeah.
listening to it and that discussion of, what did he call it? Like, blown out?
It's
Was that
just
the phrase that he
limited,
called
like,
it? Like, it was so, like, maxed.
and I think in the end we're somewhere in between.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were conscious about it. We really did think about, okay, like, where do we want to go volume wise with it?
This is still something that, for me, this is a very project dependent question, because I think mastering, like with all the loudness stuff and now loudness normalization on Spotify, and now you got like your goals where you want to hit, and I think that's as well not really the best way to go, to say, okay, Spotify wants this amount of loudness, so let's master, because in the
Yeah.
end, like, you shouldn't have your music be dependent on technical specifications. I don't think that makes any sense. There's music that needs to be louder if you go more on the clubby and the electronic side of things. Like, if you mix and master drum and bass track and like mix it to a classical like piece loudness and say, yeah, but it's really dynamic, that's not the point of it. That's completely missing the goal. So it's super cool that the platform's starting doing this, and it gives you kind of like a reference, but in the end you gotta decide from
You've got to
project
decide for
to project
yourself, but it's
anyways.
good,
Yeah.
like, to have awareness of it and
Of
to
course,
think
you
about
need
it,
to,
to
yeah.
consider it.
And the more real instruments there are, the lower the perceived loudness is gonna be, because a real kick is gonna look different than like a sample kick that's like 4 times as long and like got sub bass in there. Like it's very much dependent,
Yeah,
and
totally.
it's not that easy, especially with that stuff. If you have like sampled huge drums mixed with real drums, to kind of find that balance without switching it up, or be consistent, kind of consistent in like your listening experience, because I think there's from a listener's perspective, it's just bad if you have to like turn it up and down from one song to the next one.
Yeah, no, totally. You don't want to be doing that. If you're driving in your car listening to music, you just want it to be that
Yeah.
that same sound all the way through. Or if you're walking down the street as well, like headphones, and the music like gets really loud, like that's not nice. Like it's just screaming in your ear, and if one song is quieter and one song's louder, not fun.
So I guess,
Not
but in the end,
advisable.
that's the cool thing about Spotify, the loudness normalization, because it does loudness, but still, it doesn't change for me the mixing and mastering process, because this is still for me. It's okay to master loud in that, because what Spotify does is just lowers the volume. It doesn't
Yeah.
actually process it in another way.
Oh, okay.
But if you want to really dense and really limited and squash master or mix, this could make total sense for like a house track, for example.
Yeah. Totally.
So the problem I see a little bit with like doing some classical stuff now is the other way around, because classical music is very dynamic in its nature, and then you suddenly kind of have to hit those goals as well, because otherwise they will make it louder for you.
Oh, will it?
Yeah,
It'll
I'm not
adjust
sure.
it to get it back up to
It's like,
what
again,
everyone else
every
is.
streaming platform kind of does it their own way,
Wow.
and Spotify just to uh, I don't want to say a bad word, but screw with the European. Like they said, yeah, we're gonna do replay gain and like just put 3 dB of gain on it, and then
Okay.
push it into a limiter. Which, like, if you have a classical mix, you're kind of like, please don't do that. Like,
Yeah, no, that's not
would
gonna
be
be
great,
fun.
but if you're loud is never a problem.
Okay.
Of course, you won't be as dynamic as a rock track, maybe, or like a very nicely mixed and dynamic and open rock mix. But again, like, this goes back to this like notion of it being a race or a competition. Like, it doesn't matter even if a mix is less dense or less dynamic than the other one, and then you always get this, yeah, and then but Spotify turns it down, and then suddenly you don't have you could have a way dynamic, but it doesn't matter. Like,
Yeah.
again, this isn't a race, it's music. It's like it should be the
It
way
needs to
it's
exist the way it should be.
the way whoever made it had it in mind. And I don't think the problem is that it's less dynamic or more dynamic, but it's more about a comfortable listening
Yeah.
experience throughout different albums. It's not that, oh, but you lost 2 dB of headroom on that kick drum because
Yeah.
Who cares? Like, that's
Yeah.
all technical stuff, and technical stuff is very important in your tool shed, like you take your tools out. But for a consumer, you want to make the product or the music the way you kind of feel it and have want it to be heard by other
Yeah.
people. And if that's
Exactly.
super limited and squashed to no end,
That's the one, squashed.
yeah,
Not blown out,
yeah,
squashed.
whatever, then that's fine as well. Of course, it gets problematic if it's like from a label side, was we want the loudest track ever and it doesn't matter. Then I have some problem because then it's not a creative choice, but it's like, okay, the track XY came out last week and we need to be half a dB louder.
Yeah.
And then you kind of ruin the tracks because, like, going through reference tracks and all of that stuff, I upped my library a little bit, and there were two big surprises for me. One was Uptown Funk by
Bruno
Bruno
Mars.
Mars and Mark Ronson, which I thought is gonna be way louder, and it's like super dynamic. Like in today's standards, came out I think 2012.
Yeah, we did have a look back
Yeah.
actually at that. Yeah.
And it's like it's a
About
quiet
8 years
track
old.
in today's standards, and I think it's super cool because like it's still a very funky track, and they kind of
It was
kept to
massive
the
at
kept to
time.
the sound that this music kind of wants or dictates or whatever, just grown to be. And then the other one was from Imagine Dragons, Radioactive, I think it is, which came out also around that time, and it's just completely dead. Like you can hear the distortion. It feels like they put like this distorted synth on top of it, so you don't hear the distortion of the kick drum. It's like
What the
completely
hell?
dead, and like it's like like a rectangle
Yeah,
anymore.
there's no.
And but it's pushed to a
Wait.
limit. I think it's probably the loudest track I've heard ever, like in perceived loudness levels. But it's just you can hear that the mastering engineers sent them a track back, and they said, "Yeah, great, sounds great, and now make it 60 dB louder." I was like, okay, sure, like whatever. And
Pushed.
then at some point, like the engineer is still just doing what, like in the end, what the client
Yeah.
is telling them, or he says, "Okay, I'm out." But
Yeah, that's tough. Like,
usually, if there's big money involved, like if somebody comes to me and says, "Whatever, I don't care if it's damaged afterwards, just make it, whatever."
yeah.
I guess if you're like, I don't know, one of the really big guys, you can say, "I don't care. I don't need the
Yeah.
money. I don't need the credit anymore."
But you have a variety of clients that come to your studio, don't you? You've done.
Well, it's been a little slow last year, but
Yeah, but it's
2020
now
would-
like it's. If you look back over the clientele, like you've had some rock bands, you've also
Yeah,
worked with
and-
jazz, the funk stuff.
yeah, I don't
that
have
we've
the
done.
I don't have the huge clients, the big label clients. At
Yeah,
least
but
not
your
for
studio
mixing
is
or mastering.
fresh.
And yeah,
Like you say, 18 months old, isn't
Yeah.
it, officially? Cheap Hill Studios.
I think it might be a little older.
Ooh.
I think 2018,
Mm-hmm.
beginning 2018, so that's now
2 years.
actually 2 years. You're right. For me, it's more about making music and helping people make music. I did a lot of jazz. I do some metal, actually, where I drum myself, so I'm kind of biased with that.
Yep.
That's where I can get all my extra energy out and just do silly stuff without any limitations, which is also very fun. What else? Yeah, some pop stuff, a little bit of like hip hop. The guys coming in with some YouTube playbacks and yeah, I want to rap over this.
Oh,
Yeah, sure, go
yeah.
for it, man. Like there are people like make music and somebody like, yeah, I want to get big out of it and like sure, but in the end, I do enjoy this indie kind of or very music focused kind of way of working because all of this like technical things are a little bit to the side, like still like it should make sense. And with your albums we made some decision to say okay, maybe this will be a little bit too complicated or might not hit the spot or is too much, which with pop nowadays is very much as soon as you use a fourth chord then you kind of like, oh man, you're going crazy there. But it is about making music and music without like putting
Yeah.
like giving yourself limitations for it. Like saying, okay, now we used 3 chords and the song is already 3 minutes long, so we kind of like, because otherwise we won't be played on the mainstream radio stations, which of course is super cool and I get it, but I don't know. I've always made music for making music, never with the goal of becoming big or famous or whatever. So I might be the wrong person to ask, but in my opinion, you should like be really proud of what you do. In the best case, it's a mix of both, having mainstream appeal while staying true to your like musical vision, I guess.
Yeah, intense, definitely.
But yeah, I've never saw the reason to like write a certain thing just because it's very popular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, totally. I remember when we were looking at different labels, I was getting in touch with them when we'd finished the album to see if they'd be interested in signing, and that was definitely an eye opener in the sense of they have to be so specific on who they bring in through the door, like who they sign. The A&R person still is around and still has to think about what the music industry has right now and what is popular, and they have to think about that and tailor their audience and their sound. And yeah, it's an interesting thought process and eye opener and learning curve as well, because it made me realize that the album that we've made together isn't a certain way. It isn't just like pop and that's it, you know. It's got so many influences within it, and it's such a mixture of things, and I love that about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but to some people, I had some feedback saying, "Oh, it's too commercial for us. Like we love it, it sounds really great, but it's a little too commercial for our sound and what we're pushing on." And then other labels would go, "Oh yeah, it's cool, but it's not commercial enough." And it was kind of like,
No.
so, you know, which one, like, what kind of thing is this album? And I do love that it is actually just a collaboration
Yeah.
and a mixture, and it wasn't written for someone in particular, a label in particular. It was made for
But we talked about
from
it
the
like
heart and the soul, and from me
yeah.
and with everyone around me that helped make it happen.
Yeah. But we talked about it like pretty early on in the process that I had the feeling this is exactly what's gonna happen. It's kind of in the middle of this like pop world where the real pop stuff is
Yeah,
poppier, or maybe let's say like more produced, over whatever the right word for that might be, just like this very like what you would think of if you say commercial pop.
specific shiny
Yeah.
sound.
But not really like instrumental focused enough for
Yeah.
like the super funky and jazzy kind of stuff. So it's like a mix which I think might be great or not. Like we'll see anyways.
Yeah, well,
Like
definitely. We will see, and we'll
we'll,
see what you think about it as well.
yeah.
And I know that I absolutely love it, like with my whole heart. Like it's amazing, and I'm super proud of it. Going back to Jamiroquai, when you look them up, they're labeled as a pop band, but there's such a mixture in there, and of sounds. Like they went through a rocky stage. Like early stuff was like acid jazz going on, like super instrumental. Like they had like tropical like themes through it. There was like Africana like vibes. Like it was tribal at one point, and then it like moved to a more like funk based, and it went really poppy for the Funk Odyssey album for Little L. And that's when they got number one, and then they were a bit more rocky, and then they went
I
like
think
more on the disco
yeah,
sense, and I love
Jamiroquai
that.
is a great example for
They've
let's
been
call
pop,
it
but they were also
yeah.
a musician's band as well. You know, it's a nice mixture.
Well, and you kind of see how it worked out for them because they, as you said, they progressed throughout all the stages, and now with the last album, like
Oh,
people
it's so
complain that
electronic.
it's too pop, it's too whatever,
Yeah.
and I think it's like sometimes with music, and I had that like often, especially more on the rock side of things as well. I know that from hip hop sides, extremely like people really tend to cling onto like sounds they're used to. So as soon as somebody like tries to change things up, you always have the hardcore fans that say, "No, that's not how we use it." So pretty much they have an album they really like, and then they want that album made like 10 times.
Yeah, exactly the
Yeah.
same. Yeah, but people evolve, sounds evolve,
And you
bands
just get kind of
evolve.
like you have to see it from I guess from a musician's
Yeah.
perspective. Like you write an album, you record an album, then in the case of like Jamiroquai or whoever, like they tour that album, like you kind of get sick of it. As stupid as it sounds, playing the same songs for like thousand, like hundreds of
Yeah,
times.
just a
You
thousand
kind of like
times.
okay,
Yeah.
maybe try something else, and maybe it makes complete sense from a artist side of things,
Mm.
especially if you have creative freedom. If you don't, then anyways, people write songs for you and you just stand there and do what you're told kind of thing. But if you're actually like in creative control of your stuff, like it is just you evolve with everything you do,
Mm-hmm.
and like it's very difficult. It feels like if you look at the really big artists out there, even for them, like there was the Linkin Park thing with the last album where like they got torn to pieces because they suddenly sounded very pop, which like you can like there's like okay, you can discuss it from a side that you like the music, you don't like the music,
Mm.
but I think if you don't like the album, listen to the old albums. Like what's going on
Yeah,
here?
you
And
can go. You
Jamiroquai is the
can go
same
back in
thing.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I don't know. And but the thing is, if then artists make the same album like 5 times, then people complain. Oh well, it's the same thing over and over again. Like okay, so
Can't please.
yeah, a little bit like that. So
Yeah.
I think it's just like, but you do it's like a lot of these really hardcore fan bases that get really and like start.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a poser listening to the whatever. Like it's I've gone through that through my younger stages of life where like in a more hard rock kind of like it's very straightforward thinking and very like
Mm.
genre based stuff. And I know that's not a rock or metal thing. That's like I know in hip hop very much there. I don't know about pop because pop seems to be very casual listening sometimes, or most of the time. So you have the radio on the side, and so maybe there's not that much of focused listening, like an audience who sit down and like really just enjoy the music. It seems to be a little bit more on the side kind of thing. Although I don't want to say it like there's amazing pop out there which should be listened to like properly,
Mm.
but like me saying like maybe some of the mainstream airplay kind of radio kind of stuff. It feels a little bit more of product industry kind of thing than
Industry
actually
led.
creative like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
complete,
I get what
like
you mean. Yeah.
I think we did a good job or you mainly, and I hope I supported you
You
enough
definitely
on your
did.
journey for your first
Definitely
album.
did.
Or it's not your first album, but your first Helena
My
May
first
solo
Helena
album.
May, yeah.
That I hope people will
Yeah.
like it. I think it's definitely got some nice flavors and some nice
There's a
vibes.
lot of flavours. I
Yeah.
remember us showing our friends it a lot behind the
friends?
scenes.
I don't have
Showing
friends.
our friends and getting their initial opinion as well. And
It's very exciting to see
very.
what is coming up and how people will react to it.
Yeah, I'm super excited. So Diamond 101, it comes out on Thursday, the 21st of January. So it's in 4 days' time. Super excited. We're going to have the music video filmed by Leo Mansell, and Leo will be joining for a Sunday shout out in the future. I'm really excited about it. I cannot wait. He's finished the edit this week, so we can all enjoy it next week. And there is the pre-order and pre-save available right now for Diamond 101. So
Amazon and iTunes as well now.
ooh, iTunes. So if you use Amazon, you use iTunes, or you use Spotify, then the link will be down below and you can pre-save it, pre-order it, and that would be amazing. Really appreciate your love and support. Thank you so much.
But yeah, if you need anything, just give me a call or write me an email.
Apparently it's like this now from Neil. Apparently kids these days, they do it flat.
Really?
Yeah. They don't do this
Yeah,
anymore.
but who holds the phone like that?
Well, the
Then
phone
you
is
would
flat.
probably do it like this.
Oh, it's like this.
I guess that would make more sense.
Phone Fabian.
Phone Fabian, nice alliteration.
Yeah, Sheep Hill Studios in Vienna. It's
Humming Helena.
amazing. Humming Helena. But yeah, I'm just super looking forward to sharing all the singles as they come out with you. Hey, Johnny.
Hey Johnny, and he knows his stuff, which all of you heard last time anyways. More than you heard this time, because I'm just blabbering on like I do. No idea what I'm talking about, but talk a lot
No, you're
about
not.
it.
Well, I'm just excited to be sharing it all with you. Just to finish that there.
Well,
We're excited.
yeah.
Excited to share it with you. And Diamond 101 is out in 4 days' time.
I hope I get my 15 minutes of fame now, and I get like millions of YouTube streams and
Millions.
Facebook Instagrams. All the beautiful ladies sending me friend
What?
requests. No? Okay. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe.
So yeah, please do Same. Spread the word, and definitely love your comments, and subscribe as well so you can check out what's coming up next, and the video will be coming up next for Diamond 101. So thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Fabian.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Probably the last time, but
No. I've been wanting to show you off to everyone
And
for
see?
a little while, and I got
see,
you
that's
now.
what you got out of that.
There you go. Special.
It's your own fault.
Bye, everybody.
Have a nice one.